Hello, everyone, and welcome to this stupendously jam-packed episode of We Are Not Entertained. I am the main man, Tommy Haley, as always. How's everyone's week doing? Mine's been pretty good. Feeling very cathartic because of how much wrestling I have consumed this past week. Because of it's an ungodly amount. Let's put it this way. I'm just going to start it off now. We have a lot to cover, and I mean a lot. I'll first talk about, let's see, what would be a quicker one to talk about? I'll talk about the Hall of Fame first, because I'll save the ROH putting on one of the cards of the night, one of the best cards Friday. So I'll start with the Hall of Fame stuff for the WWE. Obviously, you've seen the class, Steiner Brothers, Queen Sharmell, Vader, Shad Gaspar winning the Warrior Award posthumously. I don't remember how you say it. And The Undertaker. Now, I was lucky enough to watch most of it after I got off of work. Although I did miss most of the Steiner Brothers Hall of Fame speech. I was pissed off at that because I missed Scott Steiner with a live mic in WWE for like a long time. And from what I saw, he kind of kept himself composed, although probably was looking for Samoa Joe somewhere. Because he's fat! He's fat! But yeah, I missed that part. I saw the Vader stuff. How they had the Mastodon's helmet. I almost forgot how much of an absolute fucking beast he was in Japan and all that. And the earlier part of WCW, which I, for one, had no idea Harley Race was his manager. So, and Brock told me this, that WCW during that early part of the 90s was a very weird time. And I was like, yeah, it must be for Harley Race to be the manager of the Mastodon. So, of course, with Vader, of course, they you have the crowd just being like, what time is it? It's Vader time! And all that. But, Queen Sharmell going in the Hall of Fame, having her wife, Booker T, inducting her in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that was pretty cool and all that. She basically was like, I kind of always remember Queen Sharmell getting an absolute French kiss from the Boogeyman at WrestleMania. That's like one of the most memorable moments and funniest moments of all time. Obviously not for her, but for us, that was hilarious. And disgusting because of the worms. But I'm going to get to the point and say Vince McMahon coming out and inducting the Undertaker in the Hall of Fame. It's funny because they still do the what chants with McMahon. And they kept doing it, and McMahon paused, and he said, I'm going to have The Undertaker come out here and kick your ass. And then the crowd just, erupted laughing. I started laughing because that stuff was funny. But, yeah, Vince comes out and says, the newest inductee into the Hall of Fame, The Undertaker. And Undertaker proceeds to do one of the best Hall of Fame speeches ever. Actually, I wouldn't consider it a Hall of Fame speech. I would consider it more of like a TED Talk, because he already was mic'd up, so it was already like, he was like about ready to, he's not just gonna stand there and talk. He has to move around and stuff like that. So, of course, before he even says a word for a good, at least say 2 minutes, nothing but, thank you, Taker, you deserve it, all that stuff. And that was the coolest thing to see. Don't get me wrong, he's always gotten the recognition he deserves, but that was just the icing on the cake of a legendary career. I was fortunate enough to watch it as a kid. This was when he was like on SmackDown. This was like post-American Badass Undertaker. I think it was like the Reaper of Souls or something like that. I don't remember what the the Undertaker, but there was like different. There's always the first one, the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker and all that. I believe it's the Reaper of Souls. Yeah, I think it's the Reaper of Souls. Watching him put on back-to-back absolute classics with Shawn Michaels at 25 and 26. Edge, wrestling Edge, Triple H twice, Batista, and then capping off that amazing show-stealing WrestleMania run with CM Punk. It's a hell of a career. And finally getting in the Hall of Fame like he deserves. Of course, the one thing he said at the very end was never say never. Which, that could mean a lot of things. Especially for him. Now, if you watched that, the Last Dance-esque documentary that WWE put out on The Undertaker, that was kind of mirrored how what ESPN did with The Last Dance and Michael Jordan and all that. It showed you him like going through all the surgeries and stuff like that from his injuries and all that, and then him coming back at Mania 34 to basically squash John Cena like it was nothing, and he looked good and all that. It also talked about that match that shall not be named with a certain other bald old person in a place that shall not be named, and how shitty that was, and how they almost fucking died. But yeah, I mean, it means a lot of things. It's like, never say never, especially when he said it. It's like, is he gonna wrestle again, or is he just done? Will this be the last time we see Undertaker in a WWE ring? Maybe. Am I holding out hope that he will wrestle one last match? Yes. There's still that part of me that says he has one more match in him. At least one. But there's also the realist in me saying, I'm pretty sure he's done. But either way, I would be fine with both outcomes. Then again, certain wrestlers always have that itch to scratch. Case in point with Ric Flair. Ric Flair had an amazing match against Shawn Michaels, and was basically his retirement match. Got all the pomp and circumstance the night after Mania on that Raw. Got the send-off he deserved. But he had that itch, man. He just had that itch, and he went to TNA. Should he have ended his career and retired after that match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania? Yes, absolutely. Not even close. But did he go to TNA? Yes. Did it suck to see that? Yeah. I mean, he had certain gold moments. Case in point, the little when a dog sees another dog in the backyard promo segment with Jay Lethal. I mean, that was amazing. But then there was that. I mean, James Storm basically ripping his pants off, he's basically buck-ass naked and just whipping him like it's nothing. I mean, like, there's that kind of stuff. It's very mixed. But I'm holding out hope that Undertaker can wrestle one last match. I will always hold out hope. Alright, now on to the actual wrestling. We will talk about the very first pay-per-view under the Tony Khan regime of Ring of Honor. Now, Brock has also sent me something on what his Ring of Honor will be like, but I will say that after all of the Ring of Honor stuff I go through. So we start off the night. Let me find this here. We start off with the night on the main roster, or the main card. Well, we have some surprising things. So on the pre-show, or there was things teased leading up to it. So Tully Blanchard has new clients for a tag team match and then a singles match. So Tully Blanchard's mystery tag team is Khan and Tawaloi are their new tag team, or the new clients of Tully Blanchard's, which I saw pictures of them like, ooh, they look pretty good. Pretty good. Of course, they were wrestling the Shinobi Shadow Squad. I believe they ended up pulling out the win. Yeah. Yeah, I watched bits and pieces of the match. Yeah, they look pretty good. Then again, this was a glorified squash match, but they looked really good. Let's see. Another one we had was Swerve Strickland versus Alex Zane. That match was really good. Very high flying, back and forth affair. It's so mind-boggling that WWE did not see anything in Swerve. I just don't understand. I just don't get that. That makes no sense. That's a star in the making right there. And they just let him go like it's nothing. And look, he put on a freaking amazing match against Alex Zane. And that match was so good too, from the bits and pieces I saw. Of course, this was on a Friday. So I was at work for most of this. I did some nefarious means to watch this. I will not say how, but I watched it from what I saw, and it was really good. See, the next match was Ninja Mac versus Tully Blanchard's newest client, Unknown. Turns out, it's Brian Cage. So remember, I believe it was like a couple months ago, Brian Cage signed a new deal with AEW, and I think this is what he's going to be doing now. He's going to be in Ring of Honor. Will it be interesting to see what happens with him? Yes. What they're doing with Tully Blanchard and all them, I mean, it's interesting to see. But, hey. I'll give my thoughts on what Tully Blanchard can do when I read Brock's Ring of Honor stuff. The next match we have is Jay Lethal versus Lee Moriarty. I enjoyed this match more than I should have. Then again, it's Jay Lethal. I mean, the man was wooing with Ric Flair like it was nothing, like on his level. And I still, man, he does such a great Jay does such a good Ric Flair impression. It's not even funny. I mean, they just kept great. They just were just matching each other's pace. It was just good chain wrestling between the two. And, like, one person was, like, doing this, one person wanted up. Like, they were just keeping pace. That's all I should say. Matt Sydal being ringside for Moriarty, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Although it was nice to see that, though. It was really nice to see that, though. The next match we had on the card was for the interim ROH Women's Championship. The reason why it's interim is because Deonna Purrazzo won it off of Roxy because Roxy is now with the WWE. I guess I forgot to say that. Yeah, Roxy has signed a deal with WWE. My thoughts on that, really, really good for her, because I believe that's like one of her top dreams for her to go to the WWE. Will they do something with her? I don't know. She's in the Performance Center right now, doing things. I mean, hell, she's only 20 years old. I'm a year older than her, and she's already held championship gold in Ring of Honor. And I'm a year older than her. That's crazy to think. But yeah, this match was between Willow and Mercedes Martinez. Or how they did it this time. They pulled the WWE and removed the last name, and it's just Mercedes. I didn't really see anything. I didn't really watch this match. I just saw bits and pieces where it was like, oh, it's just Mercedes Martinez just being Mercedes Martinez, which is just really good wrestling or decent wrestling. You'll have like a botched butterfly suplex here and there, but that's pretty much it. Mercedes wins. She's your interim ROH Women's Champion. Will we see her wrestle Deonna Purrazzo sometime in the future to crown a undisputed ROH Women's Champion? Yes, absolutely. Will I be excited for that match? Yeah, because that's going to be a very interesting and intriguing match. Other than all, that match was pretty good. I'm going to say one thing before I get into this match. When you give tag team wrestling the time of day, you give it the time of day, the amount of time for it to work in the ring, you produce fucking classics. And Briscoes versus FTR, when it was announced a couple of weeks ago for the ROH tag team titles, I was like Veer Mahan. I was coming. And so was Brock. But watching this match, and what I said before, giving tag team wrestling the time of day, you produce absolute classics. This went above and fucking beyond that. Oh my god, this match was amazing. Like, words cannot describe how amazing this match was. Other than tag team fucking wrestling. The Briscoes, FTR. Oh my god, them boys versus the top guys. Just, it's so good because these are two of the greatest tag teams right now on the planet. I'm not saying the third one. I'm not saying that other tag team that everyone talks about. Ugh, they're okay at best. My words cannot do justice on how amazing this match was. Other than go find a way to watch this match. That's all I'm going to say about it. Because it was that fucking good. Like, it was so oh my god, it was so amazing. So amazing. But, regardless of who won this match, I would have been completely fine with it. But, someone had to win. Someone had to win, someone had to lose. And FTR are your new ROH Tag Team Champions. They even brought back the OG Tag Team belts. Which I'm like, dude, those things are so fucking dope. Well, of course, I have to say their fucking name. Of course, the Young Bucks had to butt their heads in. They're like, remember when we quit this company and all that stuff a couple years ago? Now we bought it? I'm like, well, you technically didn't. I mean, you probably bought. Now, I want to make one thing clear. Do I think this was a Tony Khan decision to put the Young Bucks against FTR again? No. I don't. Maybe? I honestly don't know. Does this match need to happen again? No. Or actually, give FTR their win back. And I'd say, if you have FTR going over against the Bucks this Wednesday, I will say yes. Because these are for both the AAA, because FTR are still the AAA tag team champions, by the way. Do I think do I think this was a Tony decision to have them wrestle again? Dude, it's so hard to say. It's very difficult to say Yes. But on the other side, I'm like, how much ego is driven in the Young Bucks to beat FTR again? And it's massive. I'll say this. I would like to say about 0.99% of it was Tony's decision, and the other 99.01% of this decision was the Bucks. And I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill saying this was the Young Bucks pulling their weight around and booking themselves this match again. But yeah, I mean, just go watch this match, please. Go watch it. It is amazing. I cannot praise it more enough than I have. It's just tag team wrestling. The next match is for the ROH World TV Championship. So this is for the TV title. It is Rhett Titus versus Minoru Suzuki. Now, if you watch wrestling, if you watch New Japan and stuff like that, you know how much of a scary motherfucker Minoru Suzuki is. I mean, when certain people have the advantage in the match, Minoru Suzuki can just laugh there and take it like it's nothing, making the opponent feel so weak when they have the upper hand that it's not even funny how much sometimes Minoru just no-sells. Except I think against Katsuyori Shibata, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. Now I believe Minoru is still. This is Minoru. I don't know how long Minoru has been on tour of the States. It's been like almost a couple of months, a very long couple of months now. He's been here on the States for months. I don't know when he's going back to Japan, let alone if he has any. I don't know when his visa and all that are expiring and all that for him to be here in the States. Like, I don't know all that stuff, but it's cool to see him here in the States because a lot of people don't really watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. If you don't, what is wrong with you? They have some absolute bangers of matches, especially during like the G1 Climax in Wrestle Kingdoms. Some of that stuffs are straight gold. Of course, the only problem I have with this match is that it followed FTR versus Briscoes. The only hark I have with this match. It's the only problem I have with it, is it followed that classic of a tag team match against Briscoes and FTR. That's the only problem I have with this. Other than that, this match was really good because, one, it's Minoru Suzuki just beating the shit out of someone like he always does and wins. By the way, this is Minoru Suzuki's first title in a United States promotion because he's won stuff in New Japan and he has gone over here and wrestled certain events here in the States, like in New York, like when they run New York, in parts of California and all that. And he has won New Japan. He has won titles under the New Japan name. He's won New Japan titles in U.S. soil. He has not won titles for a U.S. promotion. And this was his first one. Now, I have one problem with this. Who is going to have the balls of steel to say, Minoru, you're going to drop the title to this person tonight? That's one man. Look, I've seen Minoru Suzuki wrestle, not like in person, but I've seen certain matches. That's one person you're going to be like, that's one person you don't want to say no to, or hell, you don't want to see them in a dark alley at night on the other side. Those are one of the people that you just don't want to piss off, because if they do, they're going to kick your ass and they're going to laugh about it. And they're going to have a fun time doing it with a smile on their face. I also have to say, the TV title for ROH for Ring of Honor. Really cool looking design. That's all I'll say for that. The next match is for the ROH Pure Championship. So, this is against Josh Woods and Wheeler Yuta. Now, I did not watch this match. Apparently, William Regal was there to watch this match as well. Or something like that. And, I get Wheeler Yuta won the ROH Pure Championship. Good for him. Because, I mean, it's good. I mean, I don't have any complaints about Wheeler Yuta other than he's with, Orange Cassidy, and that's pretty much it. Wheeler Yuta's just a good wrestler. And that's all I'll say on that. Other than that, and then main event time for the undisputed ROH World Championship. Jonathan Gresham versus Bandito. Obviously, there can only be one. I would have been look, I watched this and I said to myself, I am fine with either outcome because both of these men are some of the most talented wrestlers in the world right now. And I would have been fine with either outcome. Because if you watch the match at the start, you can see a sign of respect between each other. Like, it was respectful and technical. Because neither man wanted to throw a punch at all. I mean, all they did in the earlier latter parts was stick to holds and counters. And it was good chain countering. It was good chain wrestling too. Someone had to throw a first punch and all that. Of course, again, like I said, it was going to be hard to follow because of what FTR and the Briscoes did. But I think it delivered. I also forget that Chavo Guerrero is like the manager for Bandito. And Chavo tried to interfere in the match. And Bandito himself wanted Chavo out because he didn't want to have anything be tarnished. Which I'm like, that's respect right there. That's respect between two wrestlers. The show and Jonathan Gresham gets the win with the 1-2. I forget his finisher. And Jonathan Gresham. Amazing. You loved to see it. I would have been fine with either outcome. Bandito would have been cool to have the undisputed ROH championship. But having Jonathan Gresham win and become the undisputed ROH champion was amazing. Now, I'm going to say this. Post-match was very interesting. Gresham closed out the show with a speech. Of course, Jay Lethal interrupts him with some stuff, being like something with ROH. But Jay Lethal attacks Jonathan Gresham. But guess who shows up? Samoa Joe. It's great to see Samoa Joe in Ring of Honor. But I feel like he's going to pull double duty and be in AEW as well. But all in all, Supercard of Honor, fantastic. Could not have been better. It was very well booked and very well paced. Except for the part where the Young Bucks, swooped in at the very last second and be like, look, we beat you guys, left ROH, and now we own it. Except for that part. That was the only hark I have on it. Tully Blanchard, being the manager of Brian Cage now is very interesting to see. The new tag team that he has is very interesting to see. There's certain upsides I could see, especially with the tag team that Tully Blanchard has now, other than FTR. Now, I will get on to the bookings of Mr. Brock Gordon. So, he saw this and he thought to himself had the opportunity to book in ROH for himself. So he meticulated and crafted this version of Ring of Honor. This is his words, not mine. If you have any problems, talk to Brock. I will also air certain grievances that I have on this, but I will read this. This is coming from Brock, not me, because I'm not that good when it comes to booking stuff like this. So, he states in his version of Ring of Honor, it will act as feeder for AEW for those who are ready for live television. So basically, what NXT is to WWE, where NXT is basically the feeder for the main roster and all that. Or, actually, it's just basically NXT. Which, when Tony first announced that he was buying ROH, I'm like, well, that's probably what he's going to do with Ring of Honor. And basically make it NXT. He also states that Ring of Honor will be on cable television on True TV or Vice, some kind of channel like that. Most likely, it will be True TV because I believe Vice shows tapings of MLW here and now. So, yeah, True TV sounds like the smarter channel of the two. There will be no pure titles, as there will only be 4 championships. Now, he doesn't really go into detail on what titles there'll be. Obviously, you'll have the World Heavyweight title, Tag Team title, Women's title, and then he doesn't directly say what the 4th title is. Either it'll be, I think, a TV title or like a US title. So there's that. The roster, he also says the roster will be compiled from Ring of Honor, AEW, and indie talent. I don't know what he means by indie talent. I think it might be like what WWE does, where they'll sign certain indie wrestlers to developmental contracts and have them work at like the Performance Center and all that. And, like train, get better, and then they'll get ready for NXT. Commentators will be Kevin Kelly, that's your play-by-play, and Matt Stryker, who was on color. I have no complaints there because that is fucking perfect for the commentators. The ring announcer will be Bobby Cruz. I hate to sound like a bad guy, but I have no idea who that is. That sounds like a me problem. The interviewer will be Brian Zane. Okay. Mr. Wrestling with Regrets. Wrestling with Regret and him being the interviewer. That's an interesting thing to see. I have no problem with that. I just find that really interesting. TV taping will be held in a studio setting like the NWA in Philly with a max of 50 people. So here's one of the first major problems I have with that, with his new version of Ring of Honor, is that you're only in front of 50 people. If they're smart, they're gonna do it how the studio or whatever NXT is in. They'll do it like that. Have more people in there than just 50 people. Because, look, they're gonna need the exposure because they're not gonna be just these wrestlers. Once they get to the main roster, aren't gonna be in bingo halls and stuff like that. They're going to be in 20,000 seat arenas and all that kind of stuff. So they need to get used to more bigger crowds. Kind of like the Impact Zone. Kind of like when TNA Impact was doing shows at the Impact Zone in Universal Studios, Florida. That would be perfect for it. Live weekly shows will build up to one big show a month held in the northeastern U.S. markets. So you'll have weekly TV shows and stuff like that. And then you'll have, you'll have like these pre-tape shows. And then you'll have your big supercard that'll lead up to certain things, almost like what NXT does. They'll have minor shows, and then they'll have one big show. He also states no comedy bullshit except Danhausen. So, okay. Danhausen's obviously the exception. Although he might need to go down to Ring of Honor to work out his curse magic, because he tries to keep cursing Hook and it just doesn't end up working. So he might need to tune up in Ring of Honor. Maybe throw some bags of teeth at him. That'll work. AEW talents can be sent down for a gimmick change to become more serious. He uses Jungle Boy as an example. Okay. I find that very interesting. So hold on, I need to go back to the no comedy talent, no comedy bullshit, except Danhausen. Well, you'll need certain you'll need like certain enhancement talent to put your soon to be going to the main roster talent. So you can use those comedy wrestlers as, fodder to your guys that you're going to push. Give them the belt, give them the rocket, that kind of stuff. So I feel like you can keep those kind of that kind of gimmicks there. I feel like maybe certain wrestlers won't, if certain wrestlers get sent down, they won't need a gimmick change. Instead, they just need a refresher. The biggest example I think of is when the Big Show was in OVW, to where that was a different reason. He just needed to lose weight and all that and just hit the refresh button. Also, Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose is another good example of hitting the refresh button. So that would work. Something like that would be better than, giving them a complete gimmick change. We don't want another Gunther situation. We don't want a Walter to Gunther situation here. So I don't want to have to deal with that again. All ROH Championship matches will be contested in a best of 2 of 3 falls. And the title cannot change hands on a DQ or a count-out if either is the deciding fall. He also says that TV championship matches have a 20-minute time limit. All other championship matches will have a 30-minute time limit, so that 4th championship is a TV title. Okay. Well, okay. So I have a problem there. If you're going to make it a 2 of 3 falls match, if you're going to make title matches 2 or 3 falls, you're obviously going to go over time limit, especially when it's a 2 or 3 falls. So maybe for the TV championship matches, you go 25, and then for all others, you go like 60. Now they can go under 60, but like 60 is the limit. And then 25 is the limit, and then 25 is the limit, or 30 for TV championship matches, and then 60 for all the others. I feel like that would be better, since it's 2 or 3 falls. That's my opinion. This is my opinion, but this is Brock's booking, so. All competitors must adhere to the Code of Honor, and will have a training center attached to the ROH building. The trainers will be Dustin Rhodes, Chris Hero, Christopher Daniels, Billy Gunn, and Mickey James. I am not complaining about those. Dusty, Chris, Daniels, Gunn, and Mickey. I'm not complaining about those 5. Those are like, if I'm thinking about doing a performance center myself, those are like the first 5 people I would give a call to. And it's not even close. I probably should ask about I should have a more in-depth version of what the Code of Honor is, because the people would need explaining on that. So, yeah. But other than that, I mean, I see no problem. I mean, other than the ones that I said, the problems that I aired out myself on how to, like, you know, fix it, I see no other problems with it. I think it's perfect. Now, will we find out what happens once, you know, things get ironed out, when if they're actually going to put stuff on live television and all that, what channel they'll put it on, all that kind of stuff. We don't know. This is Ring of Honor's first, like, actual, like, live event since they stopped doing all this stuff. So, it's interesting to see. Although Tony did put up a great card this past Friday. And yeah, I was entertained by that. Alright, now, I'm going to make this very quickly because I just realized I am at like 42 minutes of this and I still have night 1 of WrestleMania to talk about. NXT Stand and Deliver. The first time they're in a actual venue of more than a few hundred people, or not in the Performance Center and all that, for the first time in like 2 or 3 years. Actually very decent. Of course, the opening match was the North American title ladder match with Carmelo Hayes, I forget, Solo Sokai, all that other stuff and all that. Carmelo Hayes that's a diamond right there, and they better not drop the ball on him, because he's a star. He's a future star in the making. Who won this match? Should probably say Stand and Deliver NXT results. Oh, the kickoff to start the show, actually, was the Women's Tag Team Championship between Dakota Kai and the recently reformed team of Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, beating Toxic Attraction for the Women's Tag Team titles. I think there was a report I saw like last week or something like that one of them was injured or something like that, so that's why Io and Kaylee Ray weren't going for the tag titles. Instead, they wanted to wrestle against Mandy. Next was the North American Championship ladder match. Here are the people that competed in this: Cameron Grimes, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, Santana, Santos Escobar, and Solo Sokai. So those 5. Actually, I have something to say about this. Grayson Waller, how do you have your arm still? Good God, because his jump off the ladder looked super scary. Then again, all ladder matches look sometimes very scary. There was a Solo Sokai did a power bomb on Santos Escobar that looked like it really hurt. But the one that I'm talking about is Grayson Waller literally just saying, fuck it. It just straight jumped off a 20-foot ladder, and his arm looked like spaghetti when it hit another one. Because, that didn't... It wouldn't surprise me if I won't see Grayson Waller on television for a while to, deal with the arm injury. But when I said Carmelo Hayes is a star in the making, they got something there. Like, he's special. They got something there with him. And they better not drop the ball with that. Cameron Grimes was your person that won the North American title. I don't watch NXT a lot, so I don't know how to feel about it. So, yeah, there's that. In Tommaso Ciampa's last match in NXT, he lost to Tony D'Angelo, and I saw on Twitter that he came out with, who was it? Who was it? Was it was not Tony D'Angelo came out with Tony D'Angelo came out with I didn't see who he came out with. He came out with what's his face that owned the Danesbury Trashers. That's who he came out with. Oh, AJ Galante. AJ Galante. I don't know how the hell I forgot his name. Yeah, he came out with AJ freaking Galante. And he ends up beating Tommaso Ciampa. Now, do I think Tommaso Ciampa should have won this match? Yes, absolutely. But post-match, was it nice to see Triple H comforting Tommaso Ciampa and being like, it's okay and all that? And seeing Triple H on the NXT television for the first time in I don't know how long? Yes. I'm not crying. It's just allergies. So shut the hell up. But, I mean, it's at the end of an era. That was the very last person from the black and gold brand. And now it's over. The next match was the NXT Tag Team Triple Threat match between MSK, Imperium, and the Creed Brothers. I have one major problem with this. Imperium is now no longer using Symphony Number 9 in E minor as their theme anymore. Instead, they're using some kind of final boss music, which sounds okay. It sounds okay. Is it Symphony Number 9 in E minor? No, absolutely not. Am I going to hate WWE for changing it? Abso-fucking-lutely. They should not have touched that theme song at all. But MSK are now two-time tag team champions, which is really cool to see. The next match was the Women's Championship Fatal 4-Way between Mandy Rhodes, Cora Jade, Io Shirai, and Kaylee Ray. Now, no, leading up to this, people were wondering, like, how come they added... I'm like, people were like, it's a good thing they added Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai to this match because Cora Jade is still very green and she's going into, this match with like 15 or 10,000 people at max watching this. So it's more than a few hundred people in a performance, more than like 100 plus people in a performance center watching. So, gotta have some more experience in there. Note, this match was actually really good. And Cora was like one of the shining stars of this match. Cora looked actually really good in this match. But the real stars of this match were obviously Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray. As much as Mandy's a good wrestler, but like Kaylee and Io absolutely carry this match. Of course, Mandy won. Lol. I think Io and Kaylee are going to the main roster after this. I really think so. I think it's time for them to go to the main roster finally. I mean, it's time to put some fresh... this is going out the day after WrestleMania, and I'm recording this in the middle of the day before Night 2 of Mania. And then we have the main event. Before we have Walter. I'm not calling him Gunther. Not calling him Gunther. He is Walter. And the crowd said Walter as well, which was hilarious. Going up against LA Knight. One thing I did notice with Walter is that he has slimmed down a lot. He has slimmed down a lot. And that was one thing I really noticed. Another thing is that he can still chop the soul out of a man. This match was just okay. It wasn't great like I thought it would be. It was just okay. Was it smart to give Gunther the win? Yeah, probably was. Would I have been fine with either getting the win? Yeah, absolutely. I love Eli Drake. But, they also changed Walter's theme as well. So he's using the whatever music Imperium are using, and he is using that now. You took his name away. Why'd you have to take his music away? Why'd you have to do that to us? That was like the one thing we wished you did not touch. And the one thing you did was like, let's give him a new theme. That's a great idea. None of this classical music bullshit. Even though that's like, when you hear that, it's like oh, fuck. I really wish when me and Brock went to the Royal Rumble in St. Louis on January, that we heard that. I would have lost my mind to hear Symphony Number 9 and see Walter come out. I would have lost my mind. And that would have been so awesome to see. But no, his name is now Gunther, and now you've taken away one of the greatest themes of all time in Symphony Number 9. Because what else? What else? You've taken everything from me. WWE is like, I don't even know who you are. But main event time, Dolph Ziggler going up against Braun Breaker. I don't know how to feel about this, because when Braun came out, he had a chainsaw and was cutting down another NXT logo. And this match is just going back and forth. Dolph Ziggler, you really missed nothing. Dolph Ziggler retained, so there's that. And it makes you wonder, I think he's going to the main roster. I don't know why. I've just got that feeling. But, yeah, NXT Stand and Deliver is alright. Now, on to part 1, as I realize I'm at 50 minutes of this. Night 1 of WrestleMania. No pre-show matches and all that. I would like to take note that after watching this, they cut one match from the Saturday showing of WrestleMania, and that was the tag team match between The New Day and Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Pete Dunne. I almost called him Butch. I don't want to say that. That match is now on Sunday. I will talk about that when I watch it. So, the first match is the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between the Usos against Rick Boots and Shinsuke Nakamura. This match was going great until Rick Boots unfortunately tore his quad in like a freak accident where he was trying to lift both the Usos when he does like the presses like Scott Steiner used to do. And it looked bad. I hate joking like this, but it almost looked like not almost how Triple H tore his quad, but on that severity of tearing his quad. And it sucked. Of course, they had to change the match on the fly, because probably Shinsuke and Boogs were going to get the tag titles, but then he got injured, and then they're like, shit, what do we do? So the Usos won that match. The next match was the tag team match between the Mysterios, Dominic and Rey, against The Miz and Logan Paul. And so Dominic's attire, he pulled the book straight out of Eddie Guerrero's wardrobe with the all USA stuff and all that, making his real father proud. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you understand that reference, good for you. He was like in all USA gear, and then Rey was like in all Mexico gear, which was like really cool. And by the way, the pop that the Mysterios got was really nice to hear. And like, there's some things that are perennial, people that are always perennially over, like The Undertaker, Stone Cold, Chris Jericho, and then Rey Mysterio. He will forever be the most over person in wrestling. And it's not even close. Now, between The Miz and Logan Paul. Now, going into this, I'm like, this is going to be so fucking stupid that I'm not even going to watch it. So I rewatched it earlier this morning. On the Sunday I'm recording this. I hate myself to say this, but I enjoyed that match more than I should have. And I fucking hate saying that. Because one reason why is because Logan Paul did the most perfect Three Amigos I have ever seen in my life. And a perfect frog splash to follow that. Did he get nuclear heat with that? I'm like, yes. As someone who loves the wrestling bad guy, I'm like, oh, fuck, that's so good. I fucking hate saying that. I'm serious when I say that. Like, go watch it. He did one of the most perfect Three Amigos I have ever seen in my life. And I hate myself for saying, damn, that was really good. Of course, Logan Paul and The Miz get the win. Miz, gets the skull-crushing finale. Hold on, let me reel it back, of course. Of course, this was Dominic Mysterio's big, coming out party. This is, his first ever WrestleMania and stuff like that. Wrestling. He did fucking fantastic, too. Of course, he got overshadowed by how perfect Logan Paul wrestled this match, and I hate saying that to myself, but yeah, that match, I enjoyed that match more than I should have. Let's see, the next match, I believe, was the Raw Women's Championship match. Alright, and we're back. As we came off of the Miz and Logan Paul winning, Miz turns on Logan Paul, which Miz gets a thunderous pop for giving Logan Paul a skull-crushing finale, which I'm like, seems about right. I forget. Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre was on this card. That followed the SmackDown Tag Team match. A streak was broken at WrestleMania. Not the Undertaker streak. That happened a couple of years ago. So notice, no one's finisher is ever protected anymore. Like, no one, like, back in the day, when you hit a finisher, that was it. Like, when the most prominent person I can think of was when Razor Ramon hit Razor's Edge, the match was over, and that was it. But for some reason, they always protected Baron Corbin's end of days. Yeah, not on this night. Drew McIntyre did the impossible and kicked out of the end of days. And he's the first person ever, he's the first ever person to kick out of that move. Ever. He's the first person to ever kick out of the end of days. And it is the only finish, that's like one of the one finishers they've always protected for some reason. Now, not anymore. Another thing that happened is Drew McIntyre basically, almost tried to behead Madcap Moss and cut the first two ropes of the ring. I bet you the people that put up the ring were not fucking happy when Drew came through those curtains. They wanted to beat the shit out of him. They're like, what the hell? Like, what the hell, man? What are you doing? So yeah, that happened. After this, Stephanie McMahon herself introduces Gable Steveson. So, he's going to be on the main roster soon, by the way. Just throwing that out. Next up is Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. So, Becky comes out first in a Cadillac, in a white Cadillac and all that. And then Bianca Belair gets the Texas Southern band, like the HBCU band and all that. Of course, Corey Graves makes the one mistake and says, what the hell is this? And I was like, oh, Corey, look, I know I hate you even more, but like, why'd you have to say that, man? You don't have to say that. And he got flamed on Twitter for it. But look, watching this match, very good back and forth wrestling between these two. And let me say this, one thing clear. Bianca, dude, she is special, man. She has been on the main roster for about a handful of 3 years. And she looked so calm and composed at this Mania. Of course, the first one, the Mania before this, she was about ready to cry and all that. Well, then again, she was main eventing with Sasha on night one and all that, so I could see why. But, she had that look of, this is my time. I am here, and I deserve it. Because, one, is this is a leading up to... This angle basically started back at SummerSlam when Becky beat Bianca in, 26 seconds to win the title off her in one of the tone-deaf booking decisions of that year. And they basically rectified it this year. They had a great back-and-forth match between each other. Good chain wrestling. Just holds, counter holds, false finishes, that kind of stuff you would expect from a WWE WrestleMania match like that. And of course, they finally get it right, and Bianca Belair is your new Raw Women's Champion. I'd like to take note that she has held both titles in less than 3 years. She has held both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships in less than 3 years. It took Becky a little longer than that because her rise to stardom was getting punched in the face by Nia Jax which was the blessing in disguise and all that. I will not hold that against Becky. She deserved everything she got. But for Bianca, it took her less time to do it. She is special. She is the future of this division. I know Brock would say Rhea Ripley. Brock would argue Rhea Ripley, but the way she was just presented at this edition of WrestleMania was just, it showed me something that I'm like, she's like the star. She will be the person once Becky and Charlotte are gone. That was just my gut feeling. And I said that, and I felt that too in St. Louis for the Royal Rumble, because that pop was like different from any other pop. When Ronda returned, there was that pop, but that was a different pop when Bianca came out. That was different. And I felt it. I'm like, she's special. The next match was Seth Rollins against a mystery opponent. Seth comes out looking like the Macho Man Randy Savage. I don't know if Brock can put up, or the editor can put up a picture of what Seth was wearing, but it basically looked just like the Macho Man. Like what Macho Man would wear at a WrestleMania. Of course, Seth was like, come on, don't let the people wait. Don't let me wait and all that. And then they get pyro all the way up the ramp and more pyro on the stage. By the way, I haven't said how ungodly ridiculous the stage looks, because it looked fucking awesome. Everything goes to black. People are like, oh, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? I'll tell you. Wrestling has one more royal family. Cody motherfucking Rhodes. Adrenaline in my soul. Turns out it was fucking Cody Rhodes. I would like to say one thing. It felt so weird hearing Kingdom in a WWE event. It felt like, how do I best describe this? It felt so surreal to see Cody from Stardust, leaving the company 6 years ago, working Ring of Honor, all that stuff, New Japan, all that stuff, working his craft for 6 years, and then coming back with all of the stuff he has done for those past 6 years. And they talked about his promo on commentary, from undeniable to from undesirable to ungoddamn deniable. They didn't say it like that, but it felt so surreal to see him in all of his American Nightmare stuff, Kingdom playing, the Homelander attire, all that kind of stuff. For some reason, to me and a lot of other people, that neck tattoo seemed to have gotten larger, which rewatching that, yeah, I feel like it did. And here's the best way to put it. You know the jetpack, if you played San Andreas, I never did, but I've seen videos of it. Like, if you played San Andreas, it's like getting the jetpack. That's how much that's what it felt like. Like, that's what it honestly felt like. And this match banged. This match was great. It's Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Like, what more do I need to say? Like, it's just really good. Cody wins after 4. They miscounted how many crossroads he did. He also did a perfect Cody cutter. That Cody cutter was so good. Of course, he honored Dusty by doing the bionic elbow and all that. And it felt so surreal. Plus, when his music hit, he has made it as a main event player when the crowd drowns out his music. That's how loud it was when AT&T Stadium found out it was Cody Rhodes. That's how loud it was. And that crowd was molten hot for that match. Next was the Hall of Fame class being introduced. They always do this. And then they show, Vader's son and his wife, Shad's son and his wife. Oh, I also forgot to say, a tear came down my eye when Shad's son in JTG did the crime time thing, like with the rolling the dice thing. Dude, that was like, that was a tear in my... Dude, I started like crying because I'm like, damn, that was something. Yeah, I mean, the Steiner brothers, Queen Sharmell, and then The Undertaker comes out. You know, he's got all his pageantry stuff. The fire, the purple lights, all that stuff. And it was loud, too. I'm like, ooh, man. Even though he hasn't wrestled, he still can work a crowd like it's nothing. The next match was Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. The only part I need to say was, so during this match, people were confused on why the screen went to black for like 5 or 6 seconds. I can tell you why. So there was had a little woohoo, little pop out, you know, if you know what I mean. We had a little Justin Timberlake, you know, showing ripping the shirt, if you know what I mean. We had a nip slip, basically. That's what. And they put it back on, and it's a blink and you'll miss it moment, and it's still showing, by the way. But I don't need to explain anything more. Charlotte wins. Lol. Yeah, that was it. Like I said before, the New Day with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland got cut, so that's going to be on Sunday. I will say more about that on Sunday after I watch it, because this is a part 1 of a recording. So yeah, and guess what? To close out the show was the Kevin Owens show with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, I'd like to say one thing: Kevin Owens is not getting the credit he deserves, because he built this match all by himself. They only had Austin cut one promo, and that was it. Like, that was it. That was the only thing Austin did for this. And watching this, he has not lost a step. Like, he worked a crowd like it was nothing, because he said that there was one thing that he said. He's like, in about 5 seconds, you got about 80,000 people calling you an asshole. And then guess what? 5 seconds later, everyone was calling Kevin Owens an asshole. And guess what? Kevin Owens challenged Stone Cold Steve Austin to a no-holds-barred match. And, you know, we've seen Sting wrestle and all that, take bumps like that. Take bumps through tables and stuff like that. Yeah, Stone Cold took a suplex bump on pure concrete at almost 60 years old. He had the jorts, the shirt, he had the double braced up the double knee braces and everything, and took a concrete bump like that. He has not lost it. In 19 years, what a difference 19 years can make. Of course, he was drinking beer and all that. It was just it was so awesome to see that. So awesome to see that. And of course, to end the show, I mean, obviously Austin was going to win this match. It wasn't even close. Of course, after the match, Stone Cold is just dousing himself in the ring in beer. In his Stone Lager IPA or whatever it is. Or a Stone Cold Lager or whatever it is. I'm like, I jokingly said, this is by far the best fucking beer commercial I have ever seen in my life. Because he's drinking it during the match, by the way. And of course, at the end, Austin calls out Byron to come up and drink a beer with him. And Byron's like ecstatic, absolutely thrilled to do this. Of course, he gets stunnered, and Corey is in an orgasmic state, creaming his pants that Byron actually got a stunner. And I'm like, really wish that was Corey Graves instead of Byron Saxton. But it was funny nonetheless. And that basically ended night 1. Here are my thoughts on it. I was entertained because when the Ronda versus Charlotte match was the only dud on the card, you did something really well. And when I was entertained by Logan Paul wrestling really good, and I hated myself for that, saying I hate this, but I actually enjoy this, you did really well. So, this is the end of part 1. For when it comes to Ring of Honor, was entertained. Highly entertained. Above and beyond my expectations of how good that was. NXT Stand and Deliver, kind of entertained. night one of WrestleMania was entertained because the only dud was Charlotte versus Ronda. And you did yourself something good when that was the only bad match of the night. But yeah, that's going to end it for the part 1 of this recording. I'm at an hour and 10 minutes. Wow, I have a lot to talk about on part 2 then. So, I will see you guys in just a bit. And welcome back to Wayne, as I just finished watching night 2 of WrestleMania. I will start with this. The opening starts out with the game. Triple H coming out to the ring and starting WrestleMania and doing what every wrestler does when they retire. Leave their boots in the ring. And he's just getting showered with just nothing but respect. But he did what every other wrestler does. When you're done, you leave your boots in the ring. And that's exactly what he did. And then he started and kicked off WrestleMania Night 2. Now, the opening match is the triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team titles. The teams consist of RK Bro, Street Profits, and Alpha Academy. I should probably mention this. Gable Steveson is ringside of this match. So let's keep that as a note. This is going to be fairly quicker than what I talked about in part 1, because obviously I talked about Ring of Honor and NXT and then Brock's Ring of Honor and all that. So I'm going to fairly quickly go through this one, but it shouldn't be too quick. We start off with a triple threat tag team match for the Raw Tag Team titles between those 3 teams. And look, amazing. That match was amazingly good. One is that Street Profits did the DX thing. I think it was like, what was it? It's the they pulled off the beautiful. They pulled off the blockbuster and all that. They did the suck it and all that shit, and a tribute to Montez did that, and it was perfect. It was perfect. A lot of. It was just, as much as I hate to say it, it was kind of a spot fest. Everyone was hitting their greatest hits, and a lot of action outside the ring, in the ring, a lot of flying, a lot of it too. Of course, Matt Riddle hits a nice springboard RKO, which people on Twitter were like, "This is the greatest RKO ever," and then I politely show people the cutter Sammy Guevara did to the now new WWE superstar Cody Rhodes. How perfect that was. You could not do a better RKO than that springboard one. And that was perfect. But that one was really good and all that. But yeah, I believe RK Bro are still your tag team champions. I think they had it going into this match, and I believe they have retained. So yeah, let me double check and make sure. Yes. Yeah, and still. Of course, post thing, Chad Gable just goats on Gable Steveson and all that. Look, I missed this part, so I really don't know how he got into the ring, let alone with a shirt off. So that's kind of like a questioning thing. Brock wanted me to say this part because that's his boy. So, yeah, there's that. He did a nice, what was it? He did a nice belly-to-belly suplex on Chad Gable, so I think we're going to get a Gable versus Gable feud here soon, probably, more than likely, since he's already in the ring, did a belly-to-belly suplex on the other Gable. So, which Gable do I want to win? Probably Gable. It'd be really nice to see him. I mean, yeah, Gable is really good. I mean, they put a lot of effort in this Gable, so, yeah. That's all I gotta say. Of course, RK Bro and Street Profits also, and Gable Steveson drink out of Grove Cups, or Red Solo Cups, sorry. So, yeah, there's that. The next match is Omos versus Bobby Lashley. And when Omos comes out, there is literally No reaction at all. Literally crickets. You could probably hear a pin drop. It sounded like how the 49ers, when they went into AT&T Stadium and beat the Cowboys in that playoff game. That's how quiet it sounded. That's how quiet it was in that stadium. Other than the music playing and all that. But that's how quiet it was in the stadium. And then Bobby comes out. I mean, there were cheers for Bobby and all that, because it's Bobby Lashley, and these are two big, meaty men slapping meat. And, of course, Bobby actually was selling for Omos, which looked somewhat decent, but, I mean, there was no doubt Bobby was winning this match. And he did, basically, with a couple of spears and stuff like that, and all this stuff. So, was this match good? It was okay. I don't really think it needed to be on night 2. I really preferred it to be on Saturday instead of Sunday. But here we are. What was next? The next match was the Anything Goes match between Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. Look, I'm gonna be honest. At first, I'm like, this feud is so pointless and all that, and it's like Johnny Knoxville is just gonna beat the shit out of him with all the stuff. Like, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna beat the shit out of each other with tables, chairs, all that kind of stuff, trash cans, and that's exactly what they pretty much did. And Sami Zayn, like, props to him for just, selling all this stuff. I mean, you had Wee Man pull a hornswoggle and kick Sami Zayn in the knee. Party Boy's in there. Party Boy was in there, ass and all. I mean, look, as much as I hate to say this, sports entertainment value, it was good. I feel like I need to look around when I say that, because I feel like I'm going to get sniped down by Brock any second now before I say that. But, I mean, like, look, you have your, Jericho always said you had your attraction matches. That was, kind of one of those with, celebrity involvement. And Brock was going to change his ROH rules. I'm like, this has nothing to do with Ring of Honor at all. At all. This is WWE. They're going to have stuff like this happen. Hell, the first WrestleMania had celebrity involvement all the time. That's what WrestleMania is and will always be. They'll always have celebrity involvement in WrestleMania. For the end of time. That will be because you get eyes from that demographic. Of course, WWE wrestling fans are also Jackass fans. So you get double the view. So you get double the eyes from that group, and then wrestling, obviously. And then you get the Jackass fans that want to watch Johnny Knoxville actually wrestle. So you get more eyes gravitated towards your company. So, of course, Sami Zayn brings out, a table full of mousetraps, gets put through the ringer by the entire Jackass crew. And then they pull out a giant mousetrap, and it's not firing. And, of course, Johnny Knoxville, being the professional he is and being around those all the damn time in those movies, he sets it off and basically pins Sami Zayn that way for the win. So, I mean, it's an anything goes match, so it's pretty much also a false count anywhere. And that's pretty much, and that was a pinfall. So, Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville picks up the win. I also like to give props to the ring announcer that said he is 2 cheeseburgers shy of 175 pounds, and that was actually kind of funny. And to be honest, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were actually enjoying themselves. And if they're enjoying this match, I'm going to enjoy this match, because I love Pat McAfee. So, yeah, there's that. Okay. The next match is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the women's title. Before I say anything, all y'all horny motherfuckers need to go to jail for this shit. You all are too horny to watch this match. I mean, this is basically what it was. It was a glory. This was like satisfying the itch for all them horny motherfuckers that didn't get anything on Saturday. Guess what? They got it Sunday. They got it today of this recording. So, the first team to come out is Naomi and Sasha Banks. Everyone was wondering why there were 3 cars, because if you saw on Twitter the other day, there were, those, there was an ATV and then 2 covered cars. One was a Cadillac, one was like a a four-door Cadillac that Becky used when she came out to her match. And then we found out the third car was a fucking Lamborghini, and Sasha was just straight drove up in it. And I'm like, all right. So, all right. Nice to know they still, so much for budget cuts, am I right? No wonder why they're citing budget cuts for all their releases. They're buying they're renting out Lamborghinis for WrestleMania. But yeah, they basically pull up in that. They rev the Edge, and I mean, who the hell wouldn't do that in Lamborghini? The next team to come out is the team of Zelina Vega and Carmella. Zelina's wearing, her Queen of the Ring stuff, like the crown and all that, the pomp and circumstance and all that. And then Carmella just comes out basically. I mean, she could have just came out naked and would have been fine with that. She's wearing absolutely nothing. And of course, Corey, being the horny motherfucker he is as well, just basically was marking out to Carmella. I fucking hated that so much. So much. Yeah, she's wearing nothing. I'm literally looking at a GIF right now, and it's literally just, I can't even explain how much she's wearing literally nothing. And then, who else? Let's see, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan coming out in Catwoman attire, and then Rhea Ripley doing the Rhea Ripley things. It's just, look, I don't know what they were thinking, but a lot of horny motherfuckers were watching this, and Twitter was just a cesspool of horniness. Y'all bonk. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Go all to jail. Y'all need to go to horny jail. Y'all are some horny motherfuckers. Then Natalya and Shayna Baszler came out and all that, and purple and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's that. I'll be honest, I didn't really pay attention during this match at all, because I'm like, I don't want to, like, because I'm like, because I was just blinded by the rage of how horny Twitter was during this match, and how much horny Corey Graves was. So, I guess, so I was kind of like a blink in the, I guess, Naomi and Sasha Banks are the new tag team champions. Corey is like distraught, and he's like, how am I going to pay for the honeymoon and all that? And then Byron Saxton says, oh, don't. It's like, they can't even bring it to the wedding. It's like, Byron Saxton said this. It's like, oh, it's okay, buddy. You can make replica titles as cake. And I just started, and I was like, damn, he really said that shit. And I just started laughing my ass off because of how good that was. But yeah, I mean, I think this is actually, like, legit Sasha Banks. As much as I hate to say it, this is Sasha Banks' first ever win at WrestleMania. Ever. Let me take a drink of water. And it's crazy to think that out of all the times she's been at Mania, she's lost. And this is her first win. Granted, albeit in a tag team match, but it's a win. A win's a win, right? So, yeah, there's that. Happy for Sasha, finally. The next match is one of the more intriguing matches of the night. AJ Styles versus Edge. So apparently, AJ was bleeding because of some pyro accident. I don't know how to explain how that happens. So he was bleeding on the way to the ring, and everyone's wondering, like, what happened. Apparently it was like an Undertaker thing where, like, the fire went off and it went in his face and he dodged. I guess not this time. I guess some stray pyro got AJ in the face, and that's how he started bleeding. Look, it was weird. So it was like a blink and you'll miss it kind of moment, because, like, if you see it, it looked like John Cena hit him and he just ducked away for, like, a quick second. So, and then we get Edge. Not just Edge in this match. Heel Edge. So, we gonna get some good shit. And guess what? We did. Edge came out like he was the leader of the fucking Ministry of Darkness. He had the fire, the purple lighting, all that shit. I thought that motherfucker was doing his best Undertaker, dog. Oh my god, that entrance was godlike. And this is heel Edge in 2023. So we smoking that good pack right now. And guess what? this match did not fucking disappoint at all. It was just Edge and AJ Styles, two of the greatest. And of course, I mean, you had your style clashes, your snap suplex on the ring buckles and all that. Just your greatest hits with AJ Styles. The heel hook, all that. Of course, Edge pulled out a crossface a crossface and all of that. Oh, LaBelle lock, which I thought I'm like, did this motherfucker just pull out the Edgecutioner? I mean, it's like the Edge for those who are for those uncultured Edge fans. The Edgecutioner, what is a it's like a sharpshooter variant where you get the person in a sharpshooter and then basically turn it kind of into a pseudo lion tamer, not the walls of Jericho line. Like, we're talking WCW lion tamer. You just wrench on those legs and that back, and it looked it was great. This match was great. It's just, I mean, it's Edge and AJ Styles. You can have them wrestle in a parking lot and give them a 5-star match. And so another weird thing is that there were reports that Edge is getting some kind of stable with this gimmick, and one of the names that was what was it? One of the names that was cited to be in said group that Edge is going to be in is Damian Priest. And lo and behold, Damian Priest shows up and are basically tagged and basically part of that faction now. So, look, I'm gonna say this. Thank God they put Damian Priest with Edge. That's gonna be really interesting to see. The next match is a little quickie. Is the New Day match against Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Look, this match went 2 minutes because this match was cut for time, and they just rushed it. And good God, Pete, can we Pete Dunne? Why are they calling him Butch too? Just call him Pete fucking Dunne. Just like, makes me mad that actually happened. Like, I mean, just like, they've ruined it. They've ruined Pete. They ruined the Bruiserweight. They've taken everything from me. I just don't really know. Yeah, that match. I mean, should that match have gone longer? Yes. Am I recording this at 11:12 at night, post main event of night 2? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think if they let that match go longer, I would have been recording this at 2 o'clock in the morning at least. Or 1 o'clock in the morning. Probably 1 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, there's that. We get another pomp and another thing from Undertaker just going out. He actually did his thing. Like, he did the turnaround, held the right hand up with the fist, which he didn't do that. I just realized he didn't do that Saturday. I don't understand why he didn't do that Saturday. He just looked at the crowd, went back, stopped, and then just went back into gorilla position. So, yeah, there was that. The next match was the highly anticipated Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory match. We start out with Vince McMahon saying Austin Theory will be the next Universal Champion. I don't think he realized that there was a title unification match, so, I mean, whatever. And brings out Austin Theory, so he basically gave him the Drew McIntyre treatment when he was like, this man will be a future champion, although he didn't say the chosen one, so that was good at least. And, they're doing selfies. And then here comes the GOAT, the guy, God, Pat McAfee, with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. He gets thrown a football, and then he's been retired for a couple of years now, but he can still hit an absolute fucking piss missile. And that's exactly what he did. Look, I'm going to say this, because I've seen Pat McAfee wrestle before, and he's really good. He has wrestled before in NXT. Of course, Brock said he was a bad guy because against Undisputed Era. So we had all these like certain heel wrestlers wrestle against, the Undisputed Era, which just sounded so weird just coming out of my mouth and saying that. It sounded so odd. But yeah, here we go. Pat McAfee also did the greatest thing ever. He was commentating and kicking Austin Theory's ass. How fucking awesome that was so cool. And he tried to do a swanton bomb, but no one was home, and that looked like it hurt too. And that looked like it hurt his back. But anyway, all the way. And then he does they go to the top rope. He does a flip and then proceeds to literally jump right back up and do a superplex. It gets a false finish, and Austin Theory is hitting his finisher, and he does the most dangerous move in all of WWE, the surprise roll-up for the win. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Pat McAfee is literally doing everyone's dream and wrestling in WrestleMania. Granted, is it against Austin Theory? Yeah, but he's wrestling in WrestleMania. That's all that really counts. So, of course, everything's done. He's just gloating. Of course, Michael Cole acting like a proud father the entire match was some of the greatest stuff I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen Michael Cole happier. So, yeah, Pat McAfee gets the win. Of course, he, goats on McMahon. And, of course, McMahon teases it. And then he's like, I'm going to do it. So, yeah, the genetic jackhammer at 72 years old is wrestling again. And, of course, it's a Mr. McMahon match. It's basically it's glorified no disqualification. Austin Theory drags Pat McAfee to the ring, through the ring barricade, ring post and all that. McMahon hits a punt. McMahon punts a football into Pat's gut for the win and all that. And I'm like, man, we just can't have anything nice in WWE. And then I hear glass shattering. And I'm like, never mind. We have something nice. Stone Cold comes back to kick Vince McMahon's ass one last time. Now, I know I'm not Pat McAfee, but knowing Pat McAfee and how he is all the time, he is having the time of his fucking life right now. He's like, I just beat Austin Theory at WrestleMania while wrestling at WrestleMania, even though I'm wrestling Mr. McMahon at WrestleMania. Granted, I just lost, but Stone Cold is coming out to kick Vince McMahon's ass. So, they do everything. Oh, I'd like to take note before all this, when Austin Theory's music plays, Vince McMahon, freaks the fuck out, thinking it's Stone Cold's theme for some reason. So, yeah, there's that. So, when Austin comes out, I marked the hell. I'm going to say this honestly. I marked the hell out. I'm like, please, Austin has to come. And I'm like, thank you. Let's go. And all that. Of course, I didn't say it like that. I was more hyper. So, and then he comes out. Austin comes out. Austin Theory, AT tries to get the upper hand on Austin, but he's having none of that shit. He hit a stunner. Austin hits a stunner on Austin. That sounded so weird saying that. Basically stomped the muddle hole and then walked him dry. Kicked that piece of trash out of the ring. And then proceeds to celebrate with Mr. McMahon. And then proceeds to give one of the worst Stone Cold stunners I have ever seen in my life. It is so... It is... Oh, wow. It was atrocious. Atrociously bad. It is atrocious how bad that stunner sell was. Then again, McMahon could never sell a stunner very well. Never could. And he never will. I can't show it on here for we can't show it on here for copyright reasons, but just go look it up because it's going to be making the rounds on Twitter and all that for a while. So, yeah, there's that. And then McAfee comes back up, celebrates with Austin, does all the beer on the second rope. all that stuff. Pomp and circumstance for Austin. I'm like, Pat McAfee is literally living out the dreams of every wrestling fan right now as we speak, watching that live. And then I'm like, he's going to get stunnered, isn't he? And he did. And of course, he did the Shane McMahon one when they were in Raw 25 for Raw 25th anniversary when they were in Brooklyn, where he had beer in his mouth, and when he got stunnered, you just see a fountain, you just see a spew of beer just coming out, and he sold that so perfectly. I'm like, wow, that might make The Rock jealous on how good he sold that stunner. And then, Austin's going back in the ring, and then we cut back to McAfee, just like dazed and all that, just chugging down the beer. And I just started laughing at myself. Like, that man can die happy now that he just got stunnered by Stone Cold Steve Austin and all of that. And that basically ended that angle. I loved every single second of that, except for when McMahon beat Pat McAfee. So there was that. I mean, the less said about that, the better, because of how bad that thing was. There was absolutely no need for that. You could have just had Austin Theory be mad and just beat the shit out of him while Vince McMahon was in the ring, just goading it on. And then you hear glass shatter, and then there's all that. That could have happened that way, but instead we had Vince McMahon wrestle at 72 years old. And there's that. Now it is time for the main event. The winner-take-all, biggest WrestleMania match of all time, the title unification match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. To be honest, I'm like, they're going to go for a while, aren't they? Of course, Roman's getting pyro and all that. He does the acknowledge me, and the crowd is just popped for that. I'm like, wow. It took him 6 main events in WrestleMania to get him a pop like that, because if he said that a couple years ago, he would have gotten showered with boos. Not for the good reason, not for the good heel reason, but for the bad reason, for the rejecting of it, because they shoved it down our throats for so many years. This time we're willingly wanting to eat our vegetables, and, we're out of the past 5 or 6 years that he's main evented WrestleMania, the fans were like, WWE was like, eat your Roman Reigns broccoli. And we were like, no, I don't want to eat my broccoli. But this year, they're like, eat your Roman Reigns broccoli. And the year before that, actually, too. They're like, eat your Roman Reigns broccoli. And they're like, okay, all right, cool. Sounds like a deal. And then Brock Lesnar comes out. I was so disappointed to not see country cowboy Brock Lesnar pull up in a tractor. Dude, that would have been so fucking cool to see him do that. So, yeah, it was time. Of course, before the match starts, Brock takes his gloves off, meaning I'm like, all right, so we're going to get someone busted. Thinking, we're going to get someone busted open. No one bled. No one had a pain of crimson at all during this match. At all. And, of course, Brock sees Paul, and he's like, I'm going to kick your fucking ass. He's like, please don't. I'm just an advocate and all that. And, of course, he gets hit with a spear through a barricade and all that. And they go through the ring and all that. Roman does all this stuff. Superman punch, all that stuff. And then he's basically saying, I'm the greatest of all time. And then look at him talking about Brock Lesnar literally laying down on the ring and all that. And then Brock did 3 belly-to-belly suplexes and then went on a trip to Suplex City. So he did a total of 3 belly-to-belly suplexes and then 5 German suplexes. So he had 8 suplexes on the night, if I'm counting. And, Roman's trying to do all this stuff, all that, his moves of, his signature moves of doom and all that stuff like that. And then Roman goes for a spear, but Brock quickly counters it into a Kimura lock. And it was like a blink and you'll miss it counter into a Kimura. And I was like, is he going to do it? I'd like to take note that Roman Reigns hasn't lost a match or has not been pinned or submitted for 2 years. December of, I believe, 2019 was the last time he took a pinfall or submission. So he's in rarefied air. He's had the title with this long with 4 other people. Hulk Hogan, they said Pedro Morales, Bob Backlund, and Bruno Sammartino. And he's the 5th person to do that. As I was saying, Roman's spear gets counted into Kimura lock, and everyone's wondering, including myself, is that Samoan motherfucker going to tap? And of course, using heel tactics, I guess they didn't get Paul Heyman in shot, but he was like right there. You could see him right there in like the corner of your eye, pushing the rope ever so close to his hand to get the rope break. And that's exactly what happened for like the 3. He got a 3 count and all that, and then stuff happened. Oh, I also like to take note that a ref bump happened, a low blow, and a belt shot happened. Very typical in the Roman Reigns match, if I do say so myself. That's getting very repetitive. That's kind of what happened at the Royal Rumble in St. Louis, where, the ref took a bump. There was a belt shot by Roman himself going into that match because the ref was down and all that. Roman hits a spear and Brock is pinned cleaned, and Roman Reigns is your undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Now, are we surprised that this is the outcome? No. Should we be mad at how much of a dud this match was? Abso-fucking-lutely. I was expecting at least 25 minutes of just straight up 2 men beating two of the top guys in the WWE right now, just absolutely beating the shit out of each other. But no, we just got a finisher fest. We just got each person's, moves of doom. Brock going the corners, going to the gut and all that, hitting German suplexes, hitting belly to bellies, hit a couple of F5s and stuff like that. Being stiff, even though he's apparently great to work with in the ring. Then Roman's hitting his punches and all that, Superman punches, spears, all that stuff, power bombs, all that kind of stuff. All that. No guillotine was used, actually, so he didn't actually use the guillotine. So that was surprising. But, yeah, I mean, are we surprised that Roman won? Was it ever like, I'm pretty sure it was like a guarantee that he was going to win this match because they have that Universal title just sealed tight on Roman. I don't know who it's going to take to get it off Roman. I feel like it's Cody Rhodes because of how tremendous that Roman was probably in the building to hear that, and he's like, all right. It's going to be interesting. Now, is that feud going to be interesting because of the family aspect, with Cody being the son of a plumber, and then Roman having this long lineage of Samoan royalty, Yokozuna, Rikishi, the Usos, the Wild Samoans, The Rock, Tamina, and all that. Look, that family tree can go on forever. Just those 2 families are wrestling royalty. So, yeah. That's pretty much it for night 2. Was it better than night 1? It's a great question, Tommy. As I asked that to myself. Was it better than night 1? Maybe? I mean, the opening match was good. Omos versus Bobby Lashley wasn't. The tag team match was just for the horny people. I mean that was okay. Nope. I'll say it. Other than the Raw Tag Team match, the Raw Tag Team Championship match, AJ Styles versus Edge, Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory, then Pat McAfee versus Vince McMahon. Night 1 was better. Night 1 was just better. Of course, you had Stone Cold pull double duty at 60 years old. I mean, he went back-to-back nights at 60 years old, which is crazy to think that. But yeah, I thought Night 1 was better. Now, overall, was this a really good WrestleMania? I mean, other than some obvious outcomes, yes, it was a really good WrestleMania. It really was. Am I ashamed to say that? I mean, not really, no. But overall, just a really overall, two nights overall, really good WrestleMania. Oh, one thing I like to say is that they're just like, is The Rock ever gonna show up? Because they want that match I want that match to happen so bad between him and Roman. They're from the same family. They're part of the same family tree. So that storyline would be so good. The one time I'm willingly wanting The Rock to be in the WWE, unlike the last time where you pulled your weight around. Thank you for that, John. Ruined CM Punk for us. That's the reason why he left. All the pipe bomb stuff and all that. But yeah, overall, WrestleMania was fairly entertaining. It was highly entertaining. That is it for this edition of We Are Not Entertained, the most stupendous edition of We Are Not Entertained. I have been the main man, Tommy Haley. You guys can find me on Twitter at dude_rex14. You can follow the channel. You can follow us on Twitter. You can watch us on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that stuff. You can find Bcard's Twitter at BcardYT. The B, the C, the Y, and T are all capitalized. You can find Brock on Twitter at BrockGorton99. You can find Macy at Twitter at Macy_Shear. The M and the C are capitalized in Macy's username, while the B is capitalized in Brock's. But yeah, this is going to do it for this edition of Wayne. Again, I've been the main man, Tommy Haley, and I'll see you all next Monday. Bye! Drink water.